Ladies, it's your time to shine with all things fabulous with First for Women on Afternoon Express. For insurance with a host of fabulous benefits, call 0861 11 18 44 or SMS FIRST to 49267.
Good afternoon, South Africa. Welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is Danilo Acquisto.
And I'm Bonnie Booley. Welcome indeed. Thank you for joining us. Well, today we have a very topical show lined up for you, and it's all about human rights. We tackle an issue that has had devastating effects on our fellow African brothers and sisters and has caused a continental outcry from people from all walks of lives, including celebrities: xenophobia.
Indeed. So this is why we've brought in Nigerian-born actor Hakeem Kae-Kazim. You might have seen a series that he's been in on that way towards Stellenbosch. You would have seen those big boats that are over there.
Black sails.
Black sails. He's also got a whole bunch of recent successes. He's going to share his views on xenophobia as well as on his recent successes. Plus, we deal with something that affects all South African households, and that's the rights of domestic workers. Now, as we know, do we know what the minimum wage is? Are we paying our domestic workers enough? We've got a legal expert in the loft with us today to share her views and opinions on this topic.
Yeah, some very serious issues there. But we do have our own very gorgeous, hot domestic in the kitchen who's a sight for sore eyes. Let's see what she's making for us. Jeannie.
You have your little Latina in the kitchen, but you do not pay me enough. Okay, but we do have a fabulous guest in the kitchen. Actor, writer, bodybuilder, all-round macho man, Lehasa Moloi. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I do love the way you sound. Just say hi, Jeannie.
Hey, Jeannie.
Oh, that is so good. But we've got a lot more cooking up in our kitchen today. We've got Woolworths product developer, Rebecca Constable. Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
You're going to be making the ultimate winter comfort dish.
I am. I'm going to be making you some red wine braised oxtail.
Oh, that is fantastic. And we're going to slow cook that?
Slow cook, infuse those flavors, great winter warmer. Just so you can cozy up in those cold winter nights and enjoy something lovely and delicious.
Oh, delicious. So in the meantime, we're going to get started with this. And we really have been getting some of the most fantastic responses from those of you at home who actually are cooking with us throughout the show. These recipes do turn out amazing while you do it because they really are quick and easy to do. So if you want to cook with us today, be sure to visit our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and on there we'll have our shopping list, we'll have our full recipe and little extra tips and details as to how you can get it tasting just as delicious as this one. And also, I mean, we've been getting such incredible response from all of you watching at home on social media, so be sure to be part of the conversation. A little bit later, we're going to take your calls where you can chat to our guests and make any kind of questions or comments. So follow us on Twitter at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express. Then visit our Facebook page to make a comment, or we're on Instagram as well, or you can give us a call on 083-913-3728. But for now, I think we've got Bonnie on the couch, or Bonnie's on the couch with an amazingly hot guest.
Thank you, Jeannie. On our couch is one of the most celebrated actors we've had the privilege of hosting in our loft. He's become famous in South Africa through his appearance in a well-known soft drink advert and currently stars in the international adventure series Black Sails, which is filmed right here on home soil. His acting career abroad has seen him work alongside some of the world's best, including roles in Hotel Rwanda, Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's Ends, Loft, and 24 Redemption. Joining me now is Nigerian-born actor Hakeem Kae-Kazim.
Hey!
It's so lovely to have you. I'm
Lovely
so
to be
honoured
here.
to be interviewing
Thank you. Really
We've
lovely to be here.
always spoken about how we need to work together, and finally we meet
at
in the
last,
loft.
right?
Yeah.
In the loft, which is a great space, actually. I'd like to move in here. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
please do.
Can I?
We love a full house.
Great.
So you were born in Nigeria and
Correct.
raised in England.
Correct.
What's the South African link?
You know, I always feel that I was born in Nigeria, raised in England, and raised in South Africa in one sort of sense. You know, I came here in my sort of 20s and by accident, and you know, just sort of fell in love with the place, the people, and the whole sort of cabal that is South Africa.
Yes.
And so, you know, for me, it's very much part and parcel of who I am and part and parcel of my identity, as well as being British, as well as being Nigerian. So I take on all three, and you know, I embrace all three in a very big way.
You not only fell in love with the land, but you also fell in love with the South African woman who you married.
Yeah, no, I married a South African woman, had 3 beautiful kids. 2 of them were born here.
man.
You know, so yeah, I'm completely embraced by South Africa and by South Africans, which has been a wonderful thing as well, being here. You know.
That's awesome. Have you ever been able to live down that ad that nothing tastes like Fresca?
Never, which is, you know, it's been a bane of my existence. But,
And
you
I
know,
mean, you've done
so much
such
since,
an
but
impressive body of work.
I know, and even now when I come into the country, I mean, people that weren't even born when that commercial came on. Like,
People who don't even know what Fresca tastes
you know what
like.
I mean? Are you the Fresca guy? I mean, I'm like, how would you know? You weren't even born when this thing happened.
Stop it. Make it stop.
No. But you know what? It's nice that after so long, it's nearly 20 years now, I think. So after so long that, you know, that commercial, you know, people still remember it and remember me from it. But that also led me, in fact, to another thing. Because people always identified me with this thing, I thought, how can I use this? Rather than getting upset by it, how can I use this?
Yes.
And so, you know, with this whole thing about xenophobia, I thought, you know, I would like to try and use this character and use this whole thing and maybe do something so people would be sort of engaged in it quite quickly, and then we could take something else from it. So,
sorry, you've brought along a video of the campaign,
yeah, I have.
and we're premiering it today on public television in South Africa. Let's take a look.
Oh, hello. So, what do you remember me for? Nothing! Oh, and what's this got to do with a fizzy drink? Nothing! What did I have to my name when I first got here? Nothing! So, what's so great about xenophobia? Nothing! Ain't nobody got no time for that. We're all here working harder each and every day to make something from nothing. You know, there's a great South African saying, "Umuntu, ungomuntu, ungobantu." People are people because of other people. I mean, who believes in a country more than its foreigners? People fleeing hunger, poverty, rape, and abuse. People with nothing. We're all trying to chase our African dream, where we live side by side and fear nothing. So if we don't stop xenophobia, all we'll be left with is...
Wow, that's really powerful.
yeah, so you know, so that's what we were trying to do, and I was very lucky because I was doing some voiceovers with a company, and there was one young chap there called Richard Baker, who I think he's coming on later. I think we're going to see him, talk to him. But you know, and I mentioned that. I mean, I think he also mentioned the Larry guy, the Fresca guy.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I'd love to do something with this, you know, and you know, and I'd love to do something around xenophobia with this. And he, you know, was remarkable because he took the bullet and ran with it, and you know, literally 2 days later, he said, look, I've got this script, and, you know, we went back and forward, and you know, we got this, what you see up there, finally, which we wrote between us, and, you know, it was just a wonderful sort of journey also, and just bringing other people in. I mean, he worked for Wishbone, and all the people from Wishbone came in and helped put this thing together.
That's
so
really
the support
incredible.
around it was fantastic, because everybody was willing and understood the need, really, to sort of understand the horror that is xenophobia, and understand that we in Africa need to come together as one people and as one nation to really grow, And I think everybody understood that, and everybody was really sort of got on board with that, and so that's what happened.
It's really powerful, and I can only imagine representationally when people see that and they realize, oh my gosh, I love this guy, and you know, I can associate people's pain with this. What has the response been? Well,
you guys are the first to show it. I mean, the response within the company has been very, I mean, it's been fantastic, as I said, and the support has been great, and the people have been really sort of very, very much behind it. So, you know, I hope that we can get it out there. But the thing is that the message must, you know, must resonate. And I was, you know, the reason why we did it this way was I was hoping that, and hopefully the message will resonate. Yes, it's fun in the beginning. Oh, isn't that guy? But oh, it's Larry. But then, bam, it gets you. It's supposed to get you. And,
you're not only an amazing activist and have an impressive body of work, but you've also doubled up as an obstetrician recently. You delivered your second child.
That wasn't recently. That wasn't really. That was 12 years ago. And
12 years ago?
But I remember. Yeah, no, she's 12 now. So,
oh my gosh, how did that happen?
No, it was a complete accident. I wasn't meant to do that. But so we were at home. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. My wife got up and said, you know, I think the baby's coming, and you know, so the hospital was down the road to where we live, and I said, it's fine. And then she said, no, I think the baby's coming now. And I said, no, it's not. And anyway, put her on the couch, and you know, next minute I know the baby was in my hands.
What?
So, you know, so yeah. So it was quite a, I mean, initially it was quite a dramatic and traumatic sort of, not traumatic, it was an amazing experience actually, you know, just to sort of go through the whole motion. And, you know, I'd recently played a doctor, so it did help, you know, the fact that I knew that to tell her to lie down and to, you know, and where to sort of place my hands to do the catch. And then I was known as Mr. Delivery by Mr. David Cowell, who sort of,
You're also known as a pirate. I mean, you keep getting cast over and over as a pirate. Now, recently in Black Sails and first in Pirates of the Caribbean. How was the Black Sails experience?
It's been fantastic, actually. It's been a really
We
wonderful...
actually have some footage of it,
Great. So this is probably the first time in South Africa, too, because it's not on SATV yet.
And what's it been like? I mean, tell us about your character.
Yeah, it's been great. I play a guy called Mr. Scott, who's actually, he's one of the guys who helps facilitate the movement of goods between that have been robbed from the ships through the island and through Nassau, the city of Nassau in the Bahamas. And yeah, he's sort of, I sort of think of him as a sort of, he's the moral sort of counterpoint within the show. He's the one who's he's a thinking man, and he's more moralistic than sort of the most.
Than your proverbial pirate. Yes.
So yeah, but it's been fantastic playing him, and it's been great playing him. You know, it's a wonderful character to get into.
Much.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that. But you're not going away.
Not yet. No,
we're
I'll
still going to
stay.
chat some more, and we want to feed you. So
marvelous.
Stick around.
Thank you.
Hakeem will be joining us later to talk more about his campaign. After the break, Jeannie's in the kitchen, and we speak with Lehasa Moloi. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Afternoon Express here on 3. As you know, our girl B is glamming it up in LA. But while she's away, here's something exciting that you need to hear about. Do you want to experience a day in the life of Bonang? From seeing her in action on the radio show to hanging out with us right here in the loft? Then make sure you catch our Revlon Foundation Friday series right here on Afternoon Express and enter our competition on Twitter. Tweet us a picture of you holding your Revlon Color Stay Foundation and tweet at Afternoon Chat using hashtag Foundation Fridays, hashtag LoversOn. And you and a +1 could win the ultimate celebrity experience where you'll be treated to 24 hours of luxury Bonang style. Competition runs till the 21st of August. Find all the details and T's and C's on our website at www.afternoonexpress.co.za. Don't miss out on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So get snapping. Jeannie, what's cooking in the kitchen?
Well, we're starting off our oxtail, but I think I'm much more suited to win a trip to follow Bonang around Los Angeles. So, okay, we've got Rebecca in the kitchen, and we've just started browning our oxtail so that we can start this gorgeous slow-cooked dish. And that's looking quite yummy. How long do we brown it for, or is it literally just that until it's brown?
The first thing on any type of stew really is to brown your meat. So that is just to sear the outside and just to put all those juices, keep all of those juices into the meat and keep it nice and tender.
Is that what it does? Just seal in the softness?
It literally
and the
seals
freshness?
it, yeah. So it seals in all the flavour. So you brown it like we are here. And it usually takes a couple of minutes just so it's all nice and brown on each part of the oxtail in this case. If you want to pass me the plate, and then we just remove that. So I'm going to just take this off.
That does look juicy.
Yeah, it does. Some people actually put some flour on the outside of it as well before they brown it.
Why?
The main reason for that is to actually thicken your sauce if you'd like a slightly thicker sauce. But it also actually acts as an extra sort of, almost like a pillow to the meat.
But it won't come out like a tempura oxtail.
No, definitely not. No, it won't. But what we're going to do now, if we can just set that aside, is we're going to start with our stock base. Okay. So if you can pass me those veg, we're going to start with the onion and some celery and some onions.
There you go.
So there's our onion. What I love about this meal is it's just a one-pot wonder. I'm a one-pot girl. I love just being able to put everything into a pan, heat it up, leave it, and then you can go and do what you want to do during the day, and then come back to it at the end of the day.
Great. And I mean, when we say slow cooked, I mean, what is the average amount of time that this should cook for? Or is it kind of, the longer the better, it can sit in the pot?
Yeah, I mean, in this case with oxtail, the longer the better, but what you're looking for is probably 3 to 4 hours. And what you want is for the meat to be starting to fall off the bone. So you don't want it completely to disintegrate, but once you see that that meat is just falling off and is looking lovely and tender, then it's telling you that it's done.
Are these one of those dishes that are sometimes better the next day even?
I was just going to say, my favourite is to actually cook this on a Sunday. So I'm having a lazy Sunday. I just chill, cook a nice stew, and then actually the flavour just develops beautifully overnight, and then I have it for Monday.
I love your style, Rebecca, one pot constable. Okay,
right.
What's next?
We're going to add in some of our herbs. So we've got some bay leaf, a couple of those. If you could just crush some garlic for me there. A couple of cloves of garlic.
I've said this before, I'm Portuguese. Garlic is my national flower.
And we're just going to add in some thyme for some lovely flavour. A few twigs of that.
Am I doing this right?
Like
I'm just smashing garlic in here.
You smash away, girl. You smash away.
Okay.
I think that will do. We're going to add that in as well.
Oh, wait. I left the...
That's okay.
Is that fine?
Okay. Yeah, go for it. We're going to just put that through as well.
And a few leaves here and there, it's natural.
Yep, all natural.
And biodegradable.
It all adds to the flavour.
Okay, good.
We're going to add in our liquid components. So here we've got some chopped tomatoes.
And garlic is actually the best thing to throw into all of these stews in winter because then you don't get sick.
It's actually very good like that. You're absolutely right. What we really want to do here, though, is we want to get these veggies nice and soft and fragrant. You should be able to smell all of the delicious aromas coming off. And we're just going to add in a little bit of sugar just to sweeten it. A couple of tablespoons of those. Some white sugar there.
Okay.
Just adds a nice bit of sweetness to the dish.
I'm going to only throw in 2 because we don't need too much sugar in a dish. Well, we can throw in as much of this as possible.
Well, the red wine, yeah, we're coming to that now. So we're just gonna just simmer, just get all the flavours mixing together, and then we're gonna add our meat back in. So if we can pass that dish over, we add our meat back in. Just all it goes in to the dish.
I love how simple dishes really are on trend.
They are.
You don't need to be a chef in the kitchen to actually make something so delicious.
It's just all about your ingredients. Use quality ingredients and those flavours are going to come out and it's going to taste delicious. And a little bit of TLC, some tender loving care, and it'll be great.
Well, anything made with love, I suppose, does end up tasting better in the end.
It does indeed. So we're going to add our liquid component now. I can see you're desperate to get that red wine.
Well, I love eating, so this is going to be made with a lot of love because I'm going to really enjoy this just now.
So
okay, how many?
We've got 500 ml.
The whole thing?
Yeah, just hoy it in.
Okay. You asked nicely.
That's lovely. And we're going to add in...
It's all in.
I'm like going to be infused with red wine. And some lovely, just some beef stock as well.
Okay.
If you don't want to add red wine, you don't have to.
But actually, the alcohol does cook out, so you're not going to get tipsy when you're eating it. It does
100%.
cook out. It all burns out, so you can actually feed this to your children as well. It will be safe.
Exactly. And a top tip, Jenny, is I always cook with wine that I would drink. So, you know, just because you're cooking with it doesn't mean don't actually use a bad wine, a bad tasting wine.
Life is too
and
short
this one
for
is
that.
Exactly. And this is a lovely dry Merlot that we've used in this one. And then all you simply have to do is bring that up to a simmer, put the lid on, and then you can walk away and sort of 3 to 4 hours later it'll be ready. Just need to check it every sort of 30 minutes or so, give it a stir through. But there you go. That's all it's about.
All right. And, of course, be sure to cook with us by visiting our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, for all of our ingredients and for our fantastic recipe. This is going to be a winner. Now, at the moment, we are going to be crossing over to Danilo.
Indeed-o. I've got one of the coolest men on the couch with me today. He's an actor, writer, television presenter, bodybuilder and rapper. He's well known for his roles in Izzy Dingo, as well as stage name Hasaling. Is his also Twitter handle, by the way. Joining me now is Lehasa Moloi. Welcome to the Loft, Lehasa.
Hey, dude. What's up, man?
It's good to have you on our show with us today, dude.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are not giving me a chance at all. All the pressure, all the hashtags,
It's almost like when you want to tweet, you take up all your 140 characters just with everyone's names and hashtags.
That's
By the end of it, there's no time for a picture at the end.
Yeah.
It doesn't really count.
That's the
Dude,
problem.
I would refer to you as something my mom called me once, which was a slashy.
Yeah.
This slash that slash that slash that. You started out as a youngster wanting to become a lawyer, doctor, pilot, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah.
Fireman, and ended up becoming an actor, writer, producer, singer, you name it.
Yeah, there's such a whole lot of things out there that, you know, that are cool, that are really just nice to do. And as an actor, I think I get to do all of them.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to play like a head boy, I've played a policeman, you know, that's really cool. That's like the boy's dream with the gun and everything. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just a part of our growing up in this Rainbow Nation. There's so much opportunity that we really want to try and get as much of it as possible.
Yeah. You mentioned playing a head boy. One of your most recent projects was acting in Spud alongside John Cleese. And my cousin's also Rambo, so Sven Rygrot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
he's awesome.
He was the one who technically gave you a lot of trouble on the show itself. Tell us about that whole journey. John Cleese, I know everyone asks the Spud actors how it was working with him. They all say he's a great guy, a bit demanding at times. But what was your experience like?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I really didn't have any complaints about the whole experience. It was really one of the first acting gigs I ever got. It was quite a while ago, actually, now, 5 years ago. Odd. But it was a really good experience. All the guys like had that camaraderie that was in the books, you know. It was like they cast them straight out of the books, you know. So that really worked for the film, and it was an awesome project. John Cleese gave it his all, I think, you know, being where he is in his career. And yeah.
And it came out a beautiful product.
Yeah. Really?
I think all South Africans be part of that film.
Big time.
You've obviously, like I said, you're a slashy, so not only you're an actor, you're a writer, you were writing for Isidingo at some point too, I think, in some ways. I also wanted to understand your music production, because on the side, is this something that we can expect more of, more music coming from you?
Possibly. Probably.
How did that happen? Were you just sitting in your room one day feeling like, oh, let me fiddle on my computer and see what I can create?
Not really. I think there was a crossroads, you know, there was a bit of a fork in the road at some stage in my career, in my life. I studied music, I studied sound engineering, and then I studied acting as well. And it kind of was whatever kicks first. And I've always had the passion for music, always loved, you know, performing, rapping, singing, whatever it is. So it will definitely happen. It just has to be organic, you know? It can't be a forced process, you know.
So it's not a commercial thing. It's not like the next place for me to make money is in music, so let me try and make money there.
No. I mean, of course, I'm not going to do it for free, but you know, it has to be part of me. It can't just be part of a brand that I want to put out there. You know, it has
another
to
product
be,
that we're selling.
You know what I mean? If we're not changing the world, why are we even doing this?
Speaking of which, I'm very passionate about trying to encourage young people to pursue any kind of study, especially if they want to get into the creative fields. You are a good example of that. You're still honing your skills. You're still learning about acting. You're still learning about writing. What are some of your views on studying for creatives as well as continual study?
Twofold, kind of. I feel like you don't have to spend the world on like whatever your studies are, because a lot of places are really quite expensive, especially if you're trying to be creative. But it is necessary to continuously hone your craft. You have outstanding professionals like you guys on the show. You know, I watch you guys, I'm like, wow, I wish I could do that. But, you know, there's a time and place. And I think everyone needs to understand that even if you are out there, this is the kind of industry where only the best get to work. It's not like if you're the best, you get a lot of money. That's like a completely different thing. You're just working if you're the best.
That's wise.
So you have to keep pushing that. You have to keep
to become the best.
To become the best.
So to do that, obviously your body takes a lot of toll, your mind takes the toll. You've obviously got into bodybuilding quite recently. I think a lot of people, when they search your name, will automatically first find the Google images before they find anything else on you. What is that journey like? What is the motivation behind it? Can we expect you to go and start modeling for like maybe sportswear? What is the...
Oh, yeah. Like, I was really skinny in high school. It might not, like, translate now, but I was super skinny. I had this really high-pitched, skinny little voice, and I just wanted to grow out of that. I always idolized, like, oh, that's Iron Man, Superman, and all those things, and guys with really deep voices like Hakeem, you know. Like, I really wanted to be that. So, as with anything else in my career, as soon as you speak it, as soon as you push towards that direction, you know, doors will open, windows will open. And that's what's happened. You know, 10 odd years later, since I've been in the gym, I'm starting to kind of make a career of it, and it's bleeding into, you know, the money side, which was never really the thing. It was just more for me. Like, I'm a gym freak. I'm that guy. If I'm out of the gym
Chana, hey, okay, check that
but-
guy on the treadmill there, but
that's my bench, eh?
bump some weights there.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I love it. It's part of my lifestyle. It's affected my nutrition. It's affected all of it, and hopefully soon, modeling and professional competitions, that sort of thing.
Fantastic. Well, you're a very driven man, so we're very excited to have you in the Loft today, especially because you're speaking about xenophobia. I'm looking forward to hearing your opinions on that. After the break, however, we discuss the rights of domestic workers, first of all. So make sure you stay where you are, because in this topic, that is something that affects many of us. And make sure you join the conversation on social media. Tweet us at Afternoon Chat using the hashtag Afternoon Express. Comment on our Facebook page, or please give us a call, 083-913-3728. I know there are a couple of very opinionated people out there, so make sure you do give us a call and interact with us live on air. We'll see you after the break.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express here on 3. Now, many of you have a domestic worker, or maybe one yourself. What is a fair wage for a domestic worker? What are the domestic workers' rights, and when are they being violated? Joining me is Stephen Kirsten from CISA, who deals with employee rights and ensures that the hardworking members of our society are not taken advantage of. Welcome to the Loft.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
Now, I think that having a domestic worker in your home is somebody that's really part of your family. I would not survive without my domestic worker. But so many of these women are being exploited. I mean, how common is that?
It is quite common. We must remember that domestic workers really do form an integral part of our families.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to value them and treat them with professionalism and respect that they deserve.
Yes.
They are employees. I think that in the past, the development of the domestic worker rights was very slow. And it was always a relationship of convenience on the one side and desperation and necessity on the other.
Yeah.
But they were never treated as employees and enjoyed employees' rights.
Yes.
So it was really great in 2002 when the Department of Labour promulgated the sectoral determination and regulated and recognised the rights of domestic workers. I think what's important to remember is that the domestic worker scope and field is wider than we might think.
Yeah.
It's, there's a legal definition which says that someone who does domestic work in our households, but it's broader than what we perceive as just a domestic worker. The gardener is a domestic worker. Someone who might drive for us at our houses is a domestic worker. And someone who looks after aged.
A nanny, yes.
They fall under the scope of domestic workers, and there's a formal relationship now, which is regulated by law.
So let's cut to the chase. What is that payment structure, I suppose?
Is there a fixed rate, and how does it escalate?
Yes, okay, good question. There's no national minimum wage. So in our country,
dangerous.
generally, yes.
Like that.
However, there are certain industries where the law is promulgated and there's law created to regulate that industry. And in those industries, whether it be through collective bargaining or through the Minister of Labour promulgating certain acts, they then create minimum wages for a specific industry. Because there is a sectoral determination for domestic workers, there is now a minimum wage. It was in 2002. It started out in 2002 at 4 Rand and 10 cents per hour. Very, very low. 800 Rand a month.
4 Rand 10 cents per hour.
In 2002. Very, very low, and it's one of the lowest rates
in the
world? Certainly in South Africa. That's it's one of the lowest rates. Currently, the rate is 10 Rand and 59 cents an hour for a domestic worker who's working in a inner city, metropole area.
That's not enough.
And does this include looking after children?
Yeah, that's correct.
That
so
rate.
that rate applies as a minimum rate. It's for someone who works a maximum of 45 hours per week.
I'm very glad to know that I'm way overpaying.
No, it's not overpaying. I think it should be a negotiation.
Well, I'm way past the 10 Rand mark, that's what I'm saying.
But when I was interviewing, I suppose, for housekeepers, my housekeeper basically told me what she wanted, and now she's the boss of my house. I had the crew film at my house the other day, and she walked in after she saw what they did to the kitchen, and she said, "Never again." And I was like, "I'm so sorry, Caroline. Your house, your rules."
What are the rules around food? When should an employer supply food for their domestic worker, and how much?
All right. The issue of food is not regulated. It's an arrangement, an agreement that must be made between the domestic worker and the employer. It's very difficult to make a rule that's unenforceable. You know, what constitutes a meal? How do you enforce the provision of meals? So it's an issue that must be agreed between the parties, the employer and the employee, being the domestic worker. However, what the law does say is that as an employer of a domestic worker, you cannot charge or levy a penalty or a fine or a cost of the meals you provide to your domestic workers.
Definitely not.
Many people would do that, though. They would pay a small amount and say, well, I provide you with meals, so that has a value. So the law says you cannot put a value on the food that you provide your domestic worker.
Yes.
The law also makes provisions for meal intervals, that a domestic worker is entitled to, after 5 hours
And
of work,
tea breaks.
to sit down and enjoy a meal without working, unless there's something that it can't be left unattended.
I have so many
those-
questions
yes.
and we're running out of time.
Where can people find out more information about
Okay.
this?
The Department of Labour does publish brochures, information packs, which are
So we can
available
go
to,
online and-
to employees, domestic workers. The problem with this industry is that it is so isolated, this relationship. It's not in a normal workplace where the domestic worker would have access to this information, like the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, which is in a poster on the wall. They just don't have access to information.
Well, thank you so much for coming to chat to us.
pleasure.
I recommend if you have a domestic worker of any kind at home, please do go and look at the Department of Labour website and see if you're on track. I mean, it's only fair. All right, right now, though, let's cross over to Danilo.
Yes, today First for Women Insurance is launching a first South African women's series through Afternoon Express, where we celebrate and admire and learn from a number of fantastic South African women. Today we're going to chat to long-distance swimmer Karina Brewer. Karina holds the female record for the fastest Strait of Gibraltar crossing for 5 years, the overall record for the fastest swim around Robben Island, and the female record for the Cape Point swim. To date, she is the only swimmer to have rounded both the southernmost and the northernmost tips of Africa, and the only person to successfully swim around Danger Point. She also holds the record for the longest swim by a female in the Messina Straits for her Messina Straits quadruple crossing of 15 kilometers. She's been named one of Sports Illustrated's 10 most beautiful women in sport, and she's a proud mother of 2. Now, wow, first of all, can I say on behalf of First for Women, congratulations on an incredible journey. What a story to tell.
Oh, thanks
so it's
so
an
much.
honor to have you with us in the Loft today.
Thanks for having me.
I think we must first start with some of the challenges that you've experienced in your lifetime, because obviously doing all of these things, a lot of mental blocks, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, look, I suppose the main challenge is just prioritizing and finding time for it all. Because the swimming really is just a hobby. It's just sort of my way of staying fit, staying alive, really.
Yeah.
I also run a business and I'm a musician. So there's a lot. And my personality, I suppose, is to always try to push the boundaries and see as far as how far I can go. But there's only 24 hours in a day. But in a way, having kids have made that easier because you know what your priorities are and they come first. And anything around that you can fit in is amazing. Obviously, do your best. But yeah, it's quite a simple answer. So it's lovely for me to still be able to do everything I do. But be a mum. Yeah.
I'm sure. And a lot of it sounds like it is a mental thing, that you've got a very strong mind about you. How do you prepare yourself for all of these incredible challenges you go on?
Well, you know, I suppose focusing on the process rather than the challenge. Focusing on, for example, in swimming, for me, cold water is incredibly challenging. It's the one thing that I actually have a phobia about. But,
don't go swim in Cape Town waters again. Don't do another Robben Island trip.
Exactly. But then focusing on the joy of just being out there and on the joy of being out in the ocean. You know, it's necessary for the soul to just get away from it all every now and then. And yeah, also I suppose accepting the possibility of failure, because for me cold water has always been sort of
daunting.
There's a cutoff point for me. But I still go for it, and in that way, a challenge just becomes an experience and a journey. And
a growth point, I think, in your life, a point where you can say, I grew through that challenge.
Exactly, and you can apply that to any area of your life, really, into business, to family, whatever you do.
So listening to that long CV of yours, with all of these successes, I think I'm more interested to find out about the actual training routines that you go through, your dietary requirements, because I'm sure a lot of mothers might be out there wondering, there's no way in heck that I have the time to do all of this stuff. What do you do to train?
Yeah, I'm a little bit addicted to swimming, so that makes it easier. And for me, again, I almost don't see it as training. I just see it as getting up, having breakfast, and doing my 4 kilometers swim every day. It's just part of my life. It has been for about 15 years. And again, that makes it easier. When I'm training for something sort of specific, like I am at the moment, I'm going to do a 20K swim in Italy later this year. I try to put my mind into it a little bit more and try to push my distance and push my pace and so on. But otherwise, it's for me, it's almost like my meditation time. It's the only time I really have to myself.
To yourself, I can imagine.
In the day, and yeah, I just keep at it, and obviously in that way I maintain my fitness, which is a great bonus.
And I'm sure being a mother of two, it must be quite hard for you to kind of fit everything in together. Tell us about how you balance that lifestyle.
How do I balance that lifestyle?
Do you balance lifestyle, first of all?
Yeah, sure. That's the ultimate question, do I? But like I said earlier, the kids come first, and if there's ever a challenge or a question, that's the answer is obvious. I don't have a lot of time to myself apart from the time that I'm swimming, but that's my choice. And I like to keep busy. I like to keep being stimulated and challenged. And yeah, so my balance, I suppose, lies in my total imbalance.
Yeah, I'm sure. And on top of all of that, you also want to do some good. Tell us about your swimming awareness for cancer.
Well, absolutely. That really happened organically. And it was at a time soon after my kids were born, and I hadn't been doing much open water swimming. I haven't been doing much distance, but I've obviously been keeping up my fitness. With my group Sterling EQ, we performed at a few events for the Little Fighters Cancer Trust. And this is an organization that works with children with cancer and their families. And it just really, really appealed to me, and it spoke to me. And I kind of felt like I should be doing something like this, but I can't because of all this hecticness and whatever. And on the other hand, there was this voice saying, well, you know, you've
made time for all these other things, why not something more?
And I really wanted to get back into open water swimming, but there wasn't really enough motivation or reason, really, because in the past it was all about me. And I suppose it just came together, and I realized that I've got this talent, I've got something to give. And I had to get over quite a big hurdle to go back into sort of cold, shark-infested waters.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But I did, and open water swimming just became a vehicle through which I could make a small difference, very tiny.
It sounds like a big one, to be honest. I think even being on these shows, I think you're inspiring more than just one
exactly.
person.
So at the moment, all the swims I do are for the Little Fighters Cancer Trust, and it's basically to obviously raise funds and awareness for child cancer.
Amazing. What a Wonder Woman, really, and a true inspiration to South Africa. Karina, we salute you, and so does First for Women. First for Women celebrates and empowers South African women through its insurance products and services. First for Women recognizes that women are unique and so offers insurance specifically tailored for women, as well as a host of lifestyle, medical, travel, and business benefits to support you on your journey. For a quote on your car, home, business, or life insurance, call First for Women now on 0861 11 18 44 or SMS FIRST to 49267 and they'll call you back. We'll be right back.
Express yourself. Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So for the moment, we have an oxtail in this pot, and it is deliciously slow cooking, and it's actually punishing everybody that's in this loft because of these gorgeous aromas. But now we're going to start with the equally tasty accompaniment. So what are we making?
We're going to do something a little bit alternative. Usually you'll serve your stew with rice just to soak up that lovely sauce. But what I'm actually going to do is a butter bean mash. It's so simple. All you have to do is just line your bottom of your pan with some olive oil, just warm that through. Then add in about a clove of crushed garlic, which we're going to do here.
This might be a kitchen rookie question, but we're making mash out of the beans. There's no potatoes
yes,
involved.
that's
So is this a high-protein dish?
High protein.
Yes!
High protein, low carb. Well, a bit of carb. Okay, here we go. We're going to add in the rosemary, just infuse some flavour. And the rosemary is optional because it's quite a strong flavour.
Okay.
And then we're just going to put in, what I love actually, is this lovely, just the zest.
Lemon zest.
Of a lemon. Just adds such a lovely fragrance to it. And a bit of zest and a zing. So we add that in. And then we just take, here we've got 3 cans of beans. into the pan.
And can you use any beans, or is that a silly question? Like, would you use other beans?
What's great about these butter beans is that, I'm just going to turn that down slightly, there we go, is that they actually do mash nicely. So you want a nice big bean that's got nice surface area. You could use some other beans, like red kidney beans, for example, but these would be great, and they'll also be a great accompaniment to the stew that we've got as well. And then all you have to do is just get in there and smash away.
That is fantastic.
And you just want some nice rough texture, so it doesn't have to be a real smooth texture at all, and you just...
Yeah, I suppose with these you wouldn't mind if there's any kind of lumps and bumps in there as well.
No, that's actually what it's about. It's supposed to be nice and chunky, and then just
That's
serve
definitely
that
the buzzword in food at the moment.
Chunky.
Rustic.
Rustic. This
So
is
if
the
you mess
ultimate
anything up in the
rustic.
kitchen, it's a bit rough, it's rustic.
It's rustic, darling.
Yeah, exactly.
And there you go. That's all you have to do.
Amazing. Well, we're going to keep on mushing this. However, at the moment, Danilo is on the couch talking human rights.
Indeed, we are. Joining us on the couch now with Hakeem is Richard Baker, the creative director of that anti-Xenophobia campaign video we showed you earlier on. He's here to talk a bit more in depth about the video from its conception to completion. So, Richard, first of all, welcome to the Loft. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much, guys.
It's a very emotive video you created over there.
Yeah.
We've probably got a caller on the line, but before we get there, I just wanted to hear a little bit more about why you got involved in this video and the creative process.
You know, I think straight out the gates, a lot of the work that I do is in West Africa. It's in Africa. And, you know, I was sitting in Lagos, Nigeria, when all of this was unfolding. And, you know, as Hakeem said earlier on, I landed back in the country. We were in the recording studio the next day, and it was very topical because, you know, it was sort of seeing it from the other side, you know, and it was... It almost felt like you couldn't not be involved in what was happening.
Yeah, it was heart-wrenching.
Absolutely.
Sure, everyone wants to lend a hand. So let's get straight into your calls. We've got an anonymous call who wants to add a comment to this discussion on xenophobia. Welcome, Anonymous, to Afternoon Express.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Very well, and yourself?
I'm okay.
Cool.
Listen, I just have a comment to say then. I have nothing against foreigners, but the only thing is that those who don't have an employment, they can go back home because we are already overpopulated as it is. The reason why xenophobia in South Africa is such a major thing is because there is so much foreigners. Because we as South Africans don't have houses. And then there's still extra people that need houses. That causes a whole lot of xenophobia in South Africa. Not that we hate our black brothers and sisters because they were there for us in the past 6 years. So we want to be there for them.
Okay, well, we respect your opinion, so thank you for sharing that with us. Gents, before we comment...
But do keep in mind, Anonymous, thank you for your call, but do bear in mind that some of these people come from war-torn countries. They can't go back to their countries. And they're here to look for a better life for themselves and their families.
Guys, any comments?
I mean, immigration and people coming and flowing through is normal to countries throughout the world. And, you know, it's a shame. I thought it's a shame that people have those views that just because you're here, that they feel that you should go back home and you're not putting anything into the system. These foreigners that come here usually work harder than most and give harder than most because they've come from nothing. And so, you know...
I was about to say that. We've got another call on the line. Zama, do you have a differing opinion?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Okay, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So, Zama, what is your opinion or question?
Okay, I just want to say to Hakeem, making us proud as a continent. The question is, how has it been working with international staff?
Sorry, I missed that, Zama. Would you repeat the question?
How has it been working with international staff?
Oh. Okay, kind of moving away from our topic of xenophobia, but working with international stars, how has that been with you? You are an international star,
yes,
but...
you are. I loved you in 24, by the way. You're absolutely incredible.
Thank you. No, it's been fantastic. I mean, I've been very, very lucky, and my work has taken me all over the world, and you know, and I've been lucky enough to be embraced by many people and many cultures, which it goes back to, you know, this idea that me as a Nigerian boy, born and bred, being able to go out there and go into the world and experience other places and other cultures and be embraced by that. And I think that's, you know, we live in one world. It's, you know, I always say when people ask me where I'm from, I always say I'm from the world because that's how I feel. That's where I am from. You know what I mean?
Especially us being the Rainbow Nation, we should be welcoming absolutely everybody.
Everybody. Speaking of which, one of my questions is you've been very vocal about how Nigerians are portrayed in District 9.
as an
Is
example.
that some of that kind of stereotypical
Yeah, I mean, I
thinking that
think-
leads to really
Yes, it
incessant
does. And
xenophobia?
that's exactly why I mentioned that at the particular time. And then a few years after that, you had this 2008. There was the killing of Ernesto and that whole xenophobic thing that came up in 2008. And you know, these sort of things, pinpointing things on foreigners, leads to this sort of unrest. And it's, you know, it's not true. There's many other issues there that go into the reasons why.
Fueling that kind of perception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hakeem, it's been such an honor having you in the loft today. I know you have to jet off to a plane, so I'm not going to keep you any longer.
Yes,
You're off
take
to
this
LA.
off.
All the best.
He's going to rip his microphone off and hopefully not the rest of the clothes because Bonnie won't handle that. Stay right where you are. We're continuing the conversation after the break. So remember to call us right now if you want to voice your opinion and have it heard. 083 913 3728. We'll be back after this.
Express yourself.
South Africa, are you with us?
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So I think we're going to start reading out some of your Facebook comments, taking some of your calls, and we've cooked up this delicious oxtail.
Yes.
Listen, guys, I literally slaved for hours in that kitchen.
Smells
You
amazing.
had better appreciate
Smells
it.
amazing. Amogelang Gatole says that if the foreigners are bringing change to our country, why not let them have it?
Yeah,
That's
that's
quite a
fantastic.
positive.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much for your
yeah.
comment. Let's go to Twitter, where Angel Ghazi says foreigners who are in the country illegally and with good intentions deserve every single right. Thank you. Hashtag One Africa.
Any comments, Richard? Because I know we didn't get much chance to chat to you.
Yeah, no, look, straight off the cuff, I think anyone that, you know, can travel sort of 6,000 miles to a foreign country where they don't have the same network that a lot of us enjoy and really make something of it, give that man a bells, you know?
Yeah, it takes
just absolutely
courage.
through and through.
Yeah.
Because, you know, very quickly, you know, we often refer to it as the American dream. It's really the foreigner's dream. And people coming to our borders have dreams of building better things, of creating jobs. And I say, you know,
And
what a
it's
pleasure.
so important for us to acknowledge that it is one Africa. We are one continent. We should really be a lot more united than what we
Can I
are.
ask something quite controversial? Am I allowed to? I want to understand also, because we discussed earlier, was brought up about the rates, and I think foreigners are willing to work for a lot less because they need the work a lot more.
Which makes them more vulnerable.
What does this affect our South African, potentially domestic workers who are trying to lower their rates below the minimum wage just to accept the work?
Right.
I don't know what the comment is on
Well,
that.
any agreement that's made by an employee, a domestic worker, and their employer, which is less favourable than the published rates, it's invalid, and they can be compensated.
Yes.
So
We should
there's a
report
right
on
of
these
recourse.
things.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's invalid. It's illegal.
So if a South African is offering rates that are lower than the domestic or than the local minimum, we
Accepted
should be
rate.
saying something about it and
Yeah.
making noise.
Let's go to another Facebook comment. We've got Bridget Labobo, and she says, the problem with South Africans is that we think that we are superior than any other Africans. Why should we be given opportunities outside South Africa and not do the same with our very own brothers and sisters in Africa? Thank you so much for your comment. That is very valid.
Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you so much
I
for
think
our
we should
guests.
start dishing up. Thank you so much to our guests. Do you know how many people were tweeting me now asking if I was going to ask you to remove your shirt? But you know what? I won't. I'm a lady.
Not next to me.
Well, Jeannie,
You can if you
every
want
Jeannie
to.
has that effect on our guests. They just take off their shirts.
Thank you so much for joining us. Until tomorrow between 4 and 5, lots of love. Good night and happy eating.
Bye.
Let's dish up this.
Join us tomorrow on Afternoon Express as we take a trip to a dog day camp where they look after your best friend while you go to work. And we chat with the cast of SABC3's hit drama series, High Rollers.
Another feel-good production.
Join us next time for more fabulous fun inspired by First for Women on Afternoon Express. For an insurance quote, call 0861 11 18 44 or SMS FIRST to 49267.